Hello my loves, it's been a while since I've done a pro makeover for you guys here on this channel, so I decided to show you how to make color wearable on deep dark skin. And we all know by now how hype I am about Rihanna's new Fenty line, her Fenty Beauty. So I also wanted to show you how to do this look on someone who fit the darkest shade of the Fenty line. So let's get started on this look. The first thing that I'm doing is prepping her skin with NYX's First Base Primer Mist. Then I decided to go in to hydrate the skin and add a bit of radiance to it with MAC's Strobe Cream in Strobe Gold. I chose this color because she has a mix of red and gold undertones to her skin, but I really wanted the golden tones to show through, so I decided to go with the gold Strobe Cream. But the peach or the red Strobe Cream looks phenomenal on deep dark skin as well. To color correct any dark marks she may have on the skin so the foundation will give us a better coverage, I went in with Sephora and Pantone's concealer palette in medium to dark, and I chose the shade Peach and that red shade as well. Then moving on to the eyes, I first wanted to underscore her brow and create a highlight by using Fenty's Match Stick in the shade Suede. Then I decided to go ahead and use MAC's Lay and Low paint pot as a primer for her lids. Now normally I would use the shade Groundwork on someone of her complexion, but I really wanted the colors that we use today to pop on her skin, so I went with a lighter primer. Then I'm taking Juvia's Place Masquerade palette, and I'm taking the shade, that kind of reddish brown shade there, and I'm applying that into the crease as our transition color. I forget the name of that shadow, but I will leave it down below in the description box. Now, since she has a mono lid, not a lot of things show up on her when she opens her eyes, so I wanted to go ahead and do like a spotlight kind of eye on her because it will show through a little bit better. So I'm taking Coastal Senses eyeshadow in the shade Deep Viridian, and I'm using a synthetic flat shader brush to pack that color very heavily onto the outer corner and the inner corner of her eye. And once I have the desired intensity, I'm going to go in with a blending brush to bridge the gap between those two shades. To fill in the middle of her eye, I am taking Madison Street Beauty's pigment in the shade Peacock. Now this particular beauty line has since discontinued their makeup or their pigment. They did reopen for a short time, and I guess they closed down again, so I don't think that you can get this, but if you can, I definitely suggest getting quite a few of their pigments because they're really good. Off camera, I did apply her liner and a pair of custom lashes that I stacked. I'll leave what numbers I did in the description box below. But now we're going to even out the skin. I'm using Fenty's Pro Filter foundation in the shade 490, which is the deepest shade. Now this color would be a perfect, absolute perfect match for her in the summertime because she does get a little bit deeper in the summer. I think right now at her current shade she can do 480, maybe 470, but 490 actually works perfect because we wanted to do a dramatic highlight, and using a deeper foundation helps you to get away with doing a super dramatic highlight under the eye. So I'm just taking a dual fiber brush to quickly buff and blend that into the skin. For her concealer and highlight, I'm using Fenty Beauty's Match Stick, again in the shade Suede, and I'm applying that to all the areas that I would like to highlight. Then I'm taking a damp beauty blender that I have misted with the Oh My Glow Coffee Highlighting Spray, and that's just going to give a little bit more of a glow to her concealer, and it helps me blend it out a little bit easier as well. To set the concealer, I'm going to go in with Laura Mercier's Deep Dark, I believe it is, translucent setting powder, and I'm just using a 129 MAC brush to lightly apply this to everywhere that we did the highlight. I'm not baking with this, I'm literally just pressing it in as a powder to set and then dusting it away with the Maybelline loose powder, the Fit Me loose powder in the shade Dark, which is the darkest shade that they have available. I use this to not only dust away the Laura Mercier powder, but also set the rest of her face. To contour, I'm using a mixture of MAC's blushes in Film Noir and Sketch. Now, Sketch is the darker shade and it is very potent, so I'm not just going in with that all willy-nilly. I'm actually applying Film Noir first and kind of buffing that out and making sure it's nice and blended. Then I went in with Sketch along the hollows of the cheek to give a more defined contoured look. I quickly filled in her brows with Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow in Chocolate. Now, typically people always assume that darker skin need a dark brow, and they do not. She doesn't need a dark brow for it to show up. I wanted to stay true to her natural brow color. To highlight the skin, I'm going to go in with Fenty's Match Stick in the shade Cinnamon. It's this beautiful, deep, kind of golden brown with a rosy tone to it, and I'm using a synthetic buffing brush to kind of blend that out. I find that these work the best with the beauty blender or a synthetic buffer brush. To set that cream highlight, I'm going in with Sephora's highlight palette, and I'm taking that beautiful golden bronze shade in the same brush, and I'm going to go ahead and just pat that on top. I'm not really sweeping a lot or, you know, doing a back and forth motion. I'm more so patting, and then once I have the color where I want it to go, then I'll go ahead and sweep over the edges to blend everything together. So I'm taking Alexa Persico's Liquid Lip in the shade Goals, and to tone this down a little bit and make it more wearable for her skin tone, I'm taking one of my all-time favorite pencils, a cult classic, MAC's Chestnut, and I'm just going around the rim of her lip and just lightly feathering it into that pink so that it blends out nicely. And to add some gloss, because she loves her gloss, y'all, I am using Urban Decay's Love Child gloss. I chose this because it gave her a nice neutral shine, but it also made the pink more noticeable. And then finally, just to seal everything in and give her that beautiful glow, I'm using again the Oh My Glow mist in the shade Coffee, and this is the finished look, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful if you're an aspiring makeup artist, or if you are the shade 490 in Fenty. Hopefully this gave you some ideas on how you can do your makeup. And leave me a comment of a video or a color combination or any type of video you'd like to see me do. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later.